Hi, I want to welcome everybody to FAM 450. This is Sexuality in the Family System. I just wanted to introduce myself. I am Samantha Anderson. I'll be your instructor this semester. I have a master's degree from USM in Child and Family Studies, and I'm actually coming to you from Austin, Texas. So I'm not even in the state of Mississippi right now. So I do not have an office on campus. So here's my contact information. If you need to get a hold of me, really email is the best way. I'll answer emails quickly. Within 24 hours, I'll get back to you. And that's usually the easiest way to have conversations. You can text me or call me if you would like, but email is my preferred method, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. A few things about taking an online class. If you've never done online learning before, it's a little different from the normal classroom setting. I did my whole master's program online, so I do understand what it's like to be in your position as the online student. The one thing that I would say is the most different is that there's definitely a lot more student responsibility when it comes to online classes. Because we're not sitting down in a classroom together a couple times a week, and you don't have that built into your schedule to where you have to come and listen to the lectures and get reminders and things like that. It is going to be your responsibility to log on to the class and to make sure you're getting all my emails and announcements and things like that. Sometimes online classes tend to get pushed to the back burner and you kind of forget about them. And that's definitely on you as the online student to make sure that you're remembering to log in, because if I send an announcement but you never log in to get it, then you're not going to know what's going on in the class. So I'll definitely do my part by putting out as much information as I can. And you guys have to do your part in making sure that you're checking in. We do have regular due dates, so this is not like an independent study type of class where you can just turn things in whenever you like. In the syllabus, there's a regular class calendar. It works just like a normal classroom type of class would work. As far as due dates, there are certain days when the tests are available. You've got to stay on schedule just like you would a normal class. And I do recommend a daily check-in on Blackboard just to make sure that you're keeping up and you're not missing anything. If you're having technical difficulties, the people to contact would be the Blackboard support office, and I do have their contact information on the Blackboard class page. So if you're having problems submitting or something's going wrong to where you can't log in, you would need to call Blackboard support. I definitely don't have as much information or knowledge about the ins and outs of the technical side of Blackboard. I would give you 2 tips on submitting your work online. The first one is don't wait until the last minute. This is especially for tests and quizzes, because if you have waited until 5 minutes before the deadline and then your computer crashes or something like that, then all of a sudden you've got this emergency on your hands and you're probably going to end up getting a 0 on that assignment. So if you give yourself a little extra time to work through, if you have an emergency at the last minute, you're not going to be able to have time to fix it. But if you've given yourself a little extra time, maybe take it the day before it's due or at least a few hours in advance, then that really helps to not have so much headaches and problems right at the end. And then the other one would be to back up your work. If you're doing one of the written assignments and you've put in all of this effort and you've got pages worth of work and then you somehow lose it and that's your only copy, well, then you're going to have to redo it. So I would just suggest emailing it to yourself, or you can put it on a flash drive or something like that, just so that you have another copy somewhere else if something happens to your computer. The late work policy, on the written assignments, it's going to be 10% of the total per day for 7 days only. So say that it was worth 50 points, the assignment may be worth 50 points, that would be 5 points per day, but only for 7 days. So if you come to me 3 weeks after the assignment's been due and ask to turn it in late, I'm going to say no because you're past the 7-day deadline. And then If you do have an emergency, or you've been in the hospital or a death in the family or something like that, you can get a university approved excused absence, which would waive that late penalty. Those are only for emergencies. You have to provide the documentation to the Office of Student Affairs, and then it's still only for 7 days past the due date. So just email me and let me know what's going on if you plan to do that. For tests and quizzes, my general rule of thumb is that they cannot be taken late. I will not open the quiz or the test late. If you forget to take it, you're going to get a 0 on that. The only reason that I put generally on here is because I do understand that sometimes a big, crazy catastrophe might happen, and I'm always, willing to work with you on things like that. But for the most part, just don't plan that you can take a quiz or a test late, because most of the time, 99% of the time, I would say tests and quizzes cannot be taken late. If you forget to take one, you will get a 0. A little overview about the class itself. Here is the textbook we'll be using. It's Sexuality Now by Carol. It is the 5th edition. So that's a new edition that's just come out in 2016. And there's a picture of it if you are looking for it. As far as the assignments go, we will have a syllabus quiz that is just so that you understand the class policies, and that's kind of saying that you recognize and agree to abide by those policies. That's going to be due soon, so you want to take that right away. Then the reflection paper is worth 50 points. That's going to be you're taking a question that's a kind of a controversial topic about some type of human sexuality kind of question or topic. You're going to be kind of looking at different research that would support your opinion or challenge your opinion. There's more information on Blackboard about that, as well as the project. I won't go into too much detail here about the project because you can read all about that on Blackboard, and that's worth 100 points. So that's going to be your biggest written assignment. It's not an actual paper, but it's going to be a lot of different research and things like that you're going to be looking at in that project. We have 4 quizzes that are worth 10 points each, so that's 40 points total for quizzes. On those, they are timed. You can use your book, but they're timed, so you're going to have to know your stuff and then take the quiz. If you go into the quiz not having read the chapters, you probably won't do very well, even having it be open book, because you've only got 20 minutes. So you really don't have time to flip through and try to find every answer. And then the tests are the same way. They are timed also. They're a little bit longer, so you have more time, but same concept. You need to have the reading done and know what you're doing before you take the test. Even though it's open book, you will not have time to look through and try to find every answer. And then we're doing 4 extra credit opportunities this semester. I just want to stress that these are optional, because what you're going to be doing if you choose to do these is taking surveys. The surveys are to help out some of our faculty members here at USM. They're doing some surveys on different topics in sexuality. So those are worth 5 points each, and they do have specific deadlines. So if you're planning to do the extra credit, you need to check the schedule and make sure that you're not missing those deadlines. There's 4 different deadlines throughout the semester, so just be sure that you know when those are so that you don't miss out on your extra credit points. And I wanted to just let everybody know right up front, minus the extra credit, which is optional, there's only 400 points possible for the entire semester. So a lot of times in the past, I'll have students say, well, I really want to get an A in the class, but then they, forget to take a quiz, or, don't take the syllabus quiz, or whatever the case may be. Every assignment is very important. If you want to get an A, you've got to get as many points as you possibly can, because there's only 400 total. So once you start missing a few points here and there, it's pretty easy to drop down to a B really quickly, or, whatever the case may be of what type of grade that you're looking for. So just be aware that every assignment is really important in this class, because there's not as many points to go around. I wanted to let you guys know that sometimes on our weekly course content in Blackboard, I'm going to be featuring a guest lecturer. Her name is Dr. Claire Kimberly, and she is actually the person that typically would teach this class. I'm teaching it this summer to kind of help out with the workload. This is not my normal class. So Dr. Kimberly is going to be helping us out with some of the lectures. I'll definitely be giving some lectures as well, but sometimes you'll see a little folder that'll say guest lecturer. So I just wanted to introduce her right up front. This is Dr. Kimberly. I actually worked as her TA a couple of years ago when I was doing my master's program, and I taught this class with her back then. And she is very knowledgeable on the subject, and much more knowledgeable than I am, actually. She is an expert in sexual health and communication. She has a PhD in family science, and she's one of our faculty members here at USM. So you will hear from Dr. Kimberly a little bit, as well as myself, Miss Anderson, this semester. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is that we're going to be taking an educational approach when we are looking at these topics, human sexuality, these kinds of subjects. Everybody definitely has different viewpoints. When it comes to talking about sex, people have lots of opinions of what's right and wrong. People have lots of different moral values and things like that. So I just want to be clear up front that we are not going to be taking any kind of moral stance, judgmental type of approaches on any of these topics. This is really just strictly an informational approach for educational purposes. So we're definitely going to be talking about some controversial issues, but I'm going to try my best to make sure that I'm being very objective and that we're just looking at both sides of the issue or every side of the issue or whatever subject matter that might be, and that it's really just going to be a very unbiased, informational approach to looking at these different topics. So I'm really looking forward to being with you guys this semester, and I just wanted to end by saying please email me if you ever have any questions. I don't want you guys to feel like you're out there on your own. I'm definitely here if you need anything. So I look forward to talking to everybody soon.